I think a lot of times people often focus on the technology a little bit too much. And maybe that's because the agencies are hearing a lot from vendors, and the vendors are selling products. And so people look at, oh, if I only get this particular product, that's going to fix all my problems. But the reality is, whenever you think about IT modernization or digital transformation, it always involves three things. It's people, it's process, and it's technology. So if you only focus on the technology end of it, that ends up really limiting yourself, because you could take something that's really newfangled and fancy and possibly revolutionary, but if you're not training the people and you're not modernizing your processes, you're not really taking advantage of it. So if we take a look at, say, like the process end of it, a lot of people are moving into Agile and they're looking at DevOps as well. And I highly encourage that over like waterfall, big bang releases, where what you want to do with Agile is come up with what's called a minimal viable product. Is very, very, very quickly to be able to have a demo, so you could have this tight iteration loop to get features in as quickly as possible and jettison features that people no longer need. The other thing, though, is that you could do Agile and you could do DevOps, but the other thing that companies and also agencies are coming to Red Hat for is that they want to learn more about open source culture and open source leadership principles as well. Where in the past it was very top-down command and control, especially in the government, in terms of like coming up with things, and then you have this big program plan and this waterfall designs, and by the time you actually come out with the solution, the problem has changed, and that offering is no longer useful, but there's still a technical debt that you need to be able to maintain that. For a lot of times, it's really unapproachable to a lot of government agencies because they don't have the time or the talent to be able to harness those technologies. And those technologies are very, very exciting. What Red Hat does, though, is that we joke about is that we make the open source technology boring. And what I mean by that is that it just works. So if you look at things like Red Hat Enterprise Linux or our OpenShift container platform, what we do is we provide these substrates for people to build applications on top of, and that allows people to focus on building their applications and focusing more on the mission instead of the infrastructure that's lying underneath it. And that's really the benefit of commercially supported open source, so that if you can have really smart people that are putting together that infrastructure for you and those components for you, but once that becomes boring to them, they may move on to other things, or they build up their CV and get hired off by those Silicon Valley companies, leaving you high and dry with nobody to support this snowflake that was created for your agency. And again, what Red Hat does is we will create the boring substrates for you that you could focus more on the innovation. You want to think about automating as much as possible as well. So whenever you automate as much as possible, what you're able to do is free up your staff to focus more on the new cutting edge thing. I'll do a poll a lot of times whenever I talk to a lot of CIOs, and about 80% of their time is spent doing just like keeping the lights on, which leaves only 20% of their time for innovation. But if you could automate as much as possible, what that allows you to do is shift your budget down to 50-50 or even 20-80 to focus more on innovation. Because going back to what we were saying before about people, that's the most expensive cost when it comes to your IT organization. It's not the software, it's not the technology. And if you can make the most effective use of your staff through automating the repeatable stuff to allow them to focus on the technology, that will allow you to flip from that 80-20 to 50-50 to 20-80. When it comes to the ability of attracting and retaining talent and using open source, there are a lot of benefits to doing that. One of them is that you're able to get the kids that are right out of college. That's what they're learning. They're learning about Python. They're publishing. They're turning their homework in on GitHub, and so they're learning about all the technologies. That's the thing that they're gravitating to. And also, when you look at all the hot technologies that are coming out of Silicon Valley today, it's all based on top of open source technologies. So whether it is Linux containers, or if it is OpenStack, or if it's AI and ML technologies like TensorFlow, those have their genesis within open source. And so if you want to attract the Silicon Valley type talent to focus on the mission of the agency, having that culture is very important and to attract that type of talent. Red Hat is running on every tactical vehicle in the U.S. Army. So if you go into a Humvee or a Stryker, you will see at least one copy of open source technology running there, and it's there to protect our soldiers and to help keep them out of harm's way from friendly fire. And so being able to tie the open source technology that people have been working on all around the world to being able to make America a better place and the world a better place is something that I'm really proud to play a role in.